Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is Tension Tamer tea from Celestial Seasonings. I have the box here. I still have a little bit of frog. And it's not my favorite tea, but it's pretty good. I feel like I could use it tonight because I have a tiny tension headache. It's like I have something on my head giving me tension. No, I had it before. But no, I do like the tea. But I do get a little bit anxious because I find myself continuing to bring home more books. And this is even before I start picking up library books that I've been putting on hold for a future visit to the city. But actually about a week ago, I went into my office. I didn't go this week. Schedules are still kind of, weird. But while I was in the city, I did stop at my bookshop, BookOff. When I say my bookshop, it's not like the only one I like, but it's the one that I like to go to in the area near my job. Okay, so, and as you know, if you've watched this program, a lot of the books there are $1, and that's great because it's not just like old, mass market iffy books or whatever. There are a lot of really good books you'll find for $1. And you'll also find some not so great books. And then they also have books for $5.50, $7.50, $9.50, $12.50, up to like $20. And I don't usually go for those higher priced ones too often, but I usually have at least one in my haul. Just because. And in this case, only one. And that's good because it wasn't very pricey. But what I did was I did it on the way into the office, so I bought a bunch of books, brought it into my office, realized I would have to leave some behind if I wanted to be able to walk home and not completely knock out my shoulders. And especially right now, since I'm so out of shape, I have to be careful about how much exertion. I came home that evening and I was knocked out. And it was doing things that I would have done normally that would not have knocked me out. So yeah, things are different now. Plus, I wanted to take this mug home with me. I had this at the office for so long and I missed it. So I had to have room for that. So I left a few behind. I think I left the Agatha Christie Death in the Nile behind, which I really wanted. But it's okay. I'm not rushing to read that either. And there were a number of chunkier books and hardbacks. So I guess y'all can look forward to a future haul. But these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... I can't do math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 books I'm going to show you right now. And 3 of them have a common theme. And then there's a few other different interspersed. This one, I'm not sure how I'll feel about it. These kind of books can be either really great or just not so much. And this is called The Reading Group by Elizabeth Noble. And it was the #1 British bestseller, so I guess somebody must have wanted it. Where the books end, the stories begin. And so it's just a novel about a book club, which I've had, varying degrees of success with myself. But the chapters, so the chapters go from January to December. So I guess it covers a year in the life. And I think it's in London. And each month is a different book. And I have only read, I think, one of these books. So I know about some of them from adaptations, so I'll know the story, but I'm a little worried about that because what if I wanted to read it and what if they give away some kind of spoiler? Maybe I have to start just not being sensitive. But I'm in no rush to read this one, but you never know. When I want to read books about books, I might just get to it. So, and here's another one that I'm very excited about. Not this particular book itself, but the kind of book it is. This is Somebody at the Door by Raymond Postgate. That's how you say his name. Looks like it. British Library Crime Classics. Yes, I got it the first go. This is a train. I like mysteries that have something to do with trains. It's just, even if they're not that great a story, I just love trains. Train travel, I don't do enough of it. I'm not saying it's the best thing ever, but there's something about train travel that I wish I had more time for, and I really don't. But this takes place in 1942 during wartime in England, which is totally up my alley. Not that I'm obsessed with English wartime, but I liked Foyle's War a lot, so anything around that time. And a lot of this particular set of books are bringing back like the Golden Age and then the wartime British novels, mysteries that may have been forgotten by those of us, lay mystery readers. And I started seeing the British Library crime classics. I always have a hard time saying that, so I gotta be deliberate. When I was in Oxford, I think, I went to a bookshop, I think it's called Blackwell's, and it's a really well-known old bookshop that has other branches elsewhere, but it's like the famous one. And, beautiful, gorgeous day out, and I insisted we have to go into a bookshop. We still had a great time, but I saw a bunch of these books. And I thought, wow, this is great, but where to begin? So I didn't get any. And then I've seen them a number of other times in London, and I still didn't get any. And I've seen them under the name Poison Pen Press, I think, in Barnes & Noble, but I don't want them to be called Poison Pen Press. Now I can't say that. And I don't want to pay like $10 for them, because in case I don't like the actual story. But I really like the look of them, so I want to have them. So I've been trying to buy them online when I can find a decent price, with varying degrees of success. One of them that I'm currently about to start is a bit dented in the front, which I was not happy about. And one time in BookOff, I saw a Christmas book of this series, and it's not really a series, but And I wasn't really interested in that, so I just didn't buy it. But I was hoping one day I'd see another of these books, and so when I saw this, I was so excited. For $1 in the UK, it was £8.99. So, such a deal. Speaking of mysteries, I got, I have an autobiography that I got recently of Agatha Christie, her autobiography, but I wanted to read more actual biographies, and this is Agatha Christie, The Woman and Her Mysteries by Gillian Gill. The name may sound familiar if you've watched my recent hauls. I got another book by this writer, another biography, and I saw another one while I was in BookOff about Virginia Woolf, which I wanted, but it was a very, very full-priced one, and I'm like, maybe if I wait long enough, maybe it will go down. But I wouldn't mind reading about Agatha Christie. And it's kind of interesting, when people, it's like, I've never understood when I'm not saying I'm meticulous, but when I bring books to sell back or to donate or whatever, even to lend to somebody, I always look through the book and make sure I didn't leave anything in there for someone to just pick up. And I know I'm not the only one who's careful like that, because, especially if you have something personal, like a bill or whatever, with your personal information. Or, sometimes just a bookmark that you like, or some little something or other. It's not that hard to flip through, especially something of this size. Somebody ordered this on Amazon in, 2004. It's been a while. That's actually when I started really getting going on Amazon. Oh, man. And they got the book. Oh yeah, they got that book. That was the other book that I mentioned last week. The book about Florence Nightingale. So they also got that book by Gillian Gill, and they got a book about The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. They got a book, The Plot Against America by Philip Roth, and they got this Agatha Christie. So Agatha Christie book originally cost $11.73. So that's not like, okay, so $1. Actually, no, that's a really good discount. Wait, is this $1? Yes, this was $1. So that was cool. But that's fine to know what it cost originally, but I'm like, it has the billing address and the shipping address, which is the same thing. Basically, it's a couple, I think, who happen to be very close to where I work in the museum tower, which I'm assuming is MoMA from what I can see in the address, the Museum of Modern Art. I won't tell you their names or the exact address because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that person. But I'm like, I don't know what happened to these people. They could have just moved. They could have just donated them. Who knows? Just been tired of this book. But I'm like, how do you not take out personal information? I'm not going to do anything with that. But it's not that hard to see. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they died. Okay. So, enough about this book and that particular mystery. So this book was a book that I found. There's a whole story, and I don't want to get into it, TMI stuff, but I used to go to BookOff about 6-7 years ago, every once in a while, and I always liked going there. I'd find things, I'd get one or two things, good prices, blah, blah, blah. And then for one time I got really sick. Nothing to do with going there, but I got really, something happened. Ended up spending a night in the hospital. And I just somehow associated that with going to BookOff. I know it had nothing to do with it, but I had just stopped going for a while on a regular basis. I may have gone once or twice in the ensuing years, and then approximately last late spring, early summer, when I was going back into a super book buying phase again, not just checking out libraries, I started going back to BookOff, and I was very pleased because now I just kept finding more books. And yes, I went overboard. So I started having a little deal with myself, which I really have to renew this deal, which is you get the stack of books, take at least one of them and put them back, especially if they're one of the more higher priced books, because you don't want to, because I know myself, hence the tension. I buy so many books. Do you think I'm all reading them right now? No. So do I really need that book right now? No. So a lot of times I could just put one back. But sometimes you regret it when you put it back and then suddenly you kind of want it later on and now it's not there. So, little gamble. And like that happened with me. I mentioned this before with Vincent van Gogh, the letters, and then I ended up having to buy it online for a little more than I would have paid. So anyway, so this is Give War and Peace a Chance, Tolstoyan Wisdom for Troubled Times by Andrew D. Kaufman. And excuse me, I saw it for I think $5.50, and you can see from the back now it's $1. So sometimes they have this cute BookOff with the little dots on top. It's all cheerful looking thing, and then that's when they have anything above $1. That's usually what they put as for their price tag. And then once it goes down to $1 or maybe even $2, they put this little like grocery store tag sticker. And so what happened was I saw it for $5.50. I put it down because I had other things I was buying. And then a couple months, I think after that, I decided to read War and Peace. And I thought it would be great to read this with it. And guess what? I couldn't find it at all. It was like, it's gone. Either it's in storage somewhere or they've hidden it really well or someone bought it. So I just had to take it as loss. I ended up not continuing with War and Peace. I really want to get back to it, but now that I'm reading Count of Monte Cristo, it'll probably take a little longer to get back to it. At this point, even if this one gives away some spoilers, at this point I don't care. I just don't care. But don't you guys give me spoilers. I don't know what to talk about. So yeah, it's kind of a not literary criticism, but yeah, it's considered literary criticism. I hate that expression. It sounds so critical, but c'est la vie. And so I might like this. He also wrote Understanding Tolstoy and Russian for Dummies. So hopefully, it could be good. For $1, even better. Now, the last three are essays. And I have it's like with short stories. Sometimes I'm in the mood for them, sometimes I'm not. I may not read an entire book of essays. Or I may do so. It depends on the mood. It depends on the kind of essays and the kind of writer or whatever. But I kind of consider them, even though people still write essays now, I kind of consider them in the past to be the version of blog posts, you know what I mean? Although a lot of blog posts now are not quite as well thought out. That reminds me, I gotta get back to writing mine. It's been 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months since I last posted on my blog. Anyway, so these last three are all essays. So I'm gonna show them to you. This is, sorry, I have the window open because I can right now, but it's going to lead to some traffic noise. This is Upstream by Mary Oliver, who I think died, I'm pretty sure, recently, and I think it's a really pretty picture. I really want to go somewhere like that and just sit, and contemplate and relax and have some tea. But anyway, or eat a granola bar, I don't care. So this is selected essay. She's more well known, I think, as a poet. I don't just think, I know she's a poet, but this is her book of essays, and I don't know that much about it. Is it going to be okay? Here we go. A collection of essays in which beloved poet Mary Oliver reflects on her willingness as a young child and as an adult to lose herself within the beauty and mysteries of both the natural world and the world of literature. So that is great, and then follows Oliver as she contemplates the pleasure of artistic labor, her boundless curiosity for the flora and fauna that surround her, and the responsibility she has inherited from Shelley, Wordsworth, Emerson, Poe, and Frost, the great thinkers and writers of the past, to live thoughtfully and intelligently, and to observe with passion. So anyway, I can't say that word, passion. I always have to say it somehow wrong. Passion. Fruit. See, I can't say it. But so this could be up my alley. It just sounds very, very Catherine enjoyable. And all those writers she wrote about, most of those writers are people that I enjoy reading about. Now, this is somebody who has an interesting story that I'm not going to go 100% into today, but this is, and I think I got the pronunciation right for this, but if I don't, I don't. So this is Charles Lamb's Essays of Elia. Is that right? I've seen people say Elia, but I saw an audiobook online that said Elia. So I'm going with that. Do we really even know? With a foreword by Matthew Sweet. That name sounds familiar. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that right now. So I don't know if I'm going to like these essays. I've heard of them. I think they were mentioned on the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Yes. Which I like. It's one of my favorite epistolary novels. I don't usually like epistolary novels, but I like that one. And I think they mentioned that, as well as they mentioned Anne Bronte, which made me want to get into reading Anne Bronte again. Hence, anyway, but I know a little bit about Charles Lamb just because I've gone through periods where I'm reading about that time period of like the Romantic poets and that sort of time. He was roundabout in that era, and I read a book, it's years now. It was called The Immortal Dinner, which had this painter named, I think, Hayden's last name, and it had John Keats. It had William Wordsworth, I think, was there. Leigh Hunt, whose essays you can't see because they're really up there. Oh goodness, you do not want to see my upper arms. And Charles Lamb was there. I think he might have worked. I get them confused. So at least one of two of these people worked as a clerk, as they call it, somewhere. Was it a post office? I don't remember exactly where. Does it say? It doesn't say. But But anyway, these are his essays. He also wrote with his sister, Mary Lamb. Am I getting that right? Yeah, Mary Lamb. Just doesn't sound right because it sounds like Mary had a little lamb. He wrote, I think, the Lamb's Tales from Shakespeare, so it was kind of like a Tales from Shakespeare, and which I've never actually read, and I want to. But the story about Mary is, I'm pretty sure she stabbed and killed her mother and went away for a number of years, and then I think she was in her brother's care for the rest of their life. I don't remember the father. I could just go and look it up and refresh myself on this, so don't worry, I'm going to do that later. I read a whole book about them one time, but it's been, like I said, close to a decade, so the memory. But it's very dramatic of a story. And I think you could tell he looks like someone who had a bit of a stressful life. He kind of looks like a Mr. Collins here. But anyway, like a stressed out Mr. Collins. Anyway, I shouldn't compare him to Mr. Collins. So last but not least is also essays. And this one I'm really excited about. And this is Virginia Woolf, The Common Reader. And this is I know I haven't been telling you all the different publishers. This is a Harvest book, Harcourt Inc. But I recognize this because I have some other books of Virginia Woolf novels, I think, with a similar writing. So I could probably keep them together, And I read some of her essays before. I mean, I've read A Room of One's Own, which is spectacular. And I have another book that I bought in foils, I think, in London. One of those little kind of penguin mini books, The Lady in the Looking Glass, which I have yet to read. But I like Virginia Woolf. I have to be in the mood. But I like her. And this is her essays mostly about writers and books and stuff. So here's some things on Not Knowing Greek, Defoe, Addison, Jane Austen. I've seen quotes from her writings about Jane Austen. So Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, George Eliot, The Russian Point of View, Miss Mitford, who I have to read, The Modern Essay, Joseph Conrad. So I think I'm really going to like this. And if I don't, well, this was the 550 one. But I still think I'm going to like it because I tend to like her writing. So that is the I was going to keep this short, but it's going to hit 20 minutes because I just can't help it. I can chatter. Anyway, but that's my haul for now. I have more to come because that's where we're at right now. So this is Catherine. Wait, before I end, before signing off, let me know what you think of these books. If you've read any of them, if you like any of them, which one you think I should read first, etc. If you like talking about these books, please subscribe. There, I've done the thing. This is Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine. Less of a headache now. Have a wonderful tea and book-filled day. Goodbye.